All right, yesterday we talked about the word problems that you actually had to do on your OMHS lessons, and this is an example of one. Margaret is reading a book. The number of pages she has left to read is 276 minus 35D, where D represents the number of days she has been reading. What does 35D in the expression represent? So let's talk about this expression and look at each piece of it. 276 would be the total pages in the book. 35 represents the number of pages per day. And D represents the number of days. All right, so if I wanted to determine how many pages that she had read in one day, I would multiply 35 times 1. 2 days would be 35 times 2. 4 days would be 35 times 4. And the reason that this is being subtracted is because we have read those pages and we're taking that away from the total. So what does 35D in the expression represent? The correct answer would have been C, the number of pages read in D days. All right, this problem is a little bit more complicated because you have to remember things from previous years. It says the length of a rectangle is 2 units shorter than 1/5 of the width, x. Which expression represents the perimeter of the rectangle? So, first thing we have to remember is what perimeter is. Perimeter of a rectangle, you actually have a formula that says that perimeter is equal to 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Or we can just say that to get the perimeter, you add all sides together. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to represent or draw a rectangle. And I'm going to look at the information that I know. I know that it says the length is 2 units shorter than 1/5 of the width, x. So this tells me that my width is going to equal x. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and label that. My length is 2 units shorter than. Okay, shorter than is one of those terms that we have to rewrite it, the reverse terms. So when I see 2 units shorter than, I know that that means I'm going to be subtracting 2. And I'm subtracting 2 from 1/5 x. All right, so I'm going to label both of my lengths. Now, to get my perimeter, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add these together. So my perimeter is going to be x plus 1/5 x minus 2 plus 1/5 x minus 2. Remember that when you're adding variables, you look for like terms. We have an x plus an x. When I add those together, I have to remember that there is a 1 in front of that. I have a 1/5 x and a 1/5 x. So in my calculator, I'm going to be adding 1 plus 1 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. And when we do that, it's probably going to give me the decimal 2.4, but on Desmos, I'm going to actually change that to a fraction, and that fraction is going to be, okay, you have 2/5, 2 and 2/5, so that is going to be 12 over 5. Okay, so on my x's, I'm going to get 12 over 5x. I also have like terms, negative 2 and negative 2. I'm going to do negative 2 minus 2 on Desmos, and that's going to equal negative 4. So the correct expression would have been answer A. All right, this problem, one's age x is 4 times his age 15 years ago. Which equation represents the statement about one's age? Equation tells me that I know that it is going to have an equal sign in it. Okay, it will have an equal sign. And I'm just going to read, and the first thing I'm going to do when writing equation is to find the verb. Remember, we said that in most of these, the verb is going to be the word is. Okay, the word is. So what I would do on this one is we are going to put an equal sign where is. And I'm going to do what's on the left. I have Juan's age, and that is going to be x, is 4 times, so I'm going to have a 4, his age 15 years ago. All right, so if I was talking about our ages, let's say that Sam is 25. And we want to know how old Sam was 15 years ago. To do that, that means that I am going to be subtracting 15 from Sam's age now to get an answer of 10. So I am multiplying 4 times his age 15 years ago, which means that I'm going to be subtracting. So if it's 4 times the difference, it's going to go in parentheses, and his age now is x minus 15 to represent his age 15 years ago, which would be answer D. All right, this one says the product of a number x and 6 is 4 more than the product of the number and 8. All right, so what I'm going to do is I first of all look at my answers, and I see 2 of them have equal signs, 2 of them do not. So I have to determine if this is an equation. So I look for a verb in this particular sentence, and I find that verb is. So I am going to, at that point, put my equal sign there, and I'm going to read the part on the left, the product of a number x and 6. We know the product means to multiply. So I'm going to be multiplying a number x and 6. When we multiply a number times a variable, the number always has to go first. All right, so the left-hand side is going to be 6x. I'm going to read the right-hand side, and I'm going to write it as I read it. It says 4 more than. More than tells me to add, so I'm going to have 4 plus the product, again, this is multiply, of the number and 8. And again, to show the product of the number and 8, we do not do it like this. That would not be correct. We are going to write it as 8x. So, I look at my answers, but I don't see that answer. I almost see that answer. I have 6x is equal to 8x plus 4. When I compare these right sides, the order has been changed. And the order being changed, we know, takes place when you are adding 2 numbers, and the property that allows that is commutative property. Therefore, these 2 answers are the same. Okay, they are exactly the same answers. Therefore, your correct answer should be answer A. Yep. A customer purchases a pair of jeans and a few shirts. The expression 60 plus 20x represents the cost before tax. What does 20x in the expression represent? So let's look at this expression. We're buying jeans and a few shirts. So the cost of the jeans is going to be $60. The 20x expression, x tells me the number of shirts, and 20 is the cost of each shirt. All right, so let's say that I bought 5 shirts. To find the cost of those 5 shirts, I would take the expression 20x and I would multiply 20 times 5, which would be $100. Therefore, the 20x represents the total cost of the shirts. All right, this one is a little bit wordy, and hopefully you do not get lost in reading it. It's not that hard, but sometimes when we look at a problem, we see all the words and we panic. Monique needs to buy a baseball for $20, a soccer ball for $15, and a set of tennis balls for $12. Monique has a coupon that gives her X% off the cost of a baseball and Y% on a set of tennis balls. Total cost of items after coupons is shown by the following expression. So we have the expression 1 minus X times 20, which is dealing with the cost of the baseballs, plus, if we buy tennis balls, 1 minus Y times 12. Okay, this is going to be tennis balls. And the plus 15, this soccer ball was not discounted. Therefore, that's where the plus $15 comes in. Now, the X represented the discount for the baseballs. The reason that we subtract that X is because it is a discount. So if a baseball costs, let's say, $10 and there is a discount of 2, then we would subtract that $2 from 10 to get the final cost of the baseball. So the question asks, which part represents the price of the tennis balls after the coupon was applied? And we know the tennis ball was $12. Therefore, we are looking for the expression that is dealing with the number 12, and that would be the expression 1 minus Y times 12. Notice again, the answer is 12 times 1 minus Y. This is multiplication. Multiplication is also commutative. Therefore, it is the same thing as 1 minus Y times 12. Therefore, this would end up being answer A.